Birds asleep amidst the trees. Bats all are swaying in the breeze. But one so light, anxious, wide awake, fearing all manner of ghouls, hags, and wraiths. For your dolly Polly sleep has flown. Don't dare let her tremble alone. For the witcher, heartless cold, paid in coin of gold. He comes, he'll go, leave naught behind but heartache and woe. Deep, deep woe. It's all silent for the night. Cows trembling as daylight dies. But when so light, anxious, wide awake, fearing all manner of ghouls, hags, and wraiths, my dear Dolly.
Hello, hi everyone, and welcome to the Haunted Connection show. So we're bringing this to you from the Haunted Antiques Paranormal Research Centre in Hinckley, Leicester, and we're sponsored by Sims Vintage Antiques in Wootton Warren near Stratford. So it's me and Neil again tonight, no guests. So tonight we're going to be talking about UFOs, aliens and crop circles. One of my favourites. So as usual,
you are a bit of a fan on crop circles, aren't you?
I am. As usual, put all your thoughts, comments, any experiences that you've had, put them all down in the comments. And if you've got any questions or anything like that, we'll do our best to answer them.
We certainly will. So let's start with you then, Jane. Do you believe in aliens? We all start with you, don't we?
Yeah. Well, yes.
Do you believe in aliens?
I do. I think there's too much overwhelming evidence out there to deny it, really. And you know, going back thousands of years, from cave paintings to things that are going on, you know, things like the Nazca lines and all sorts of things like that. That they've left traces of their, or I should say, people have left traces of seeing these people and worshipping these people and all sorts of things like that over the years. So I think the evidence is a bit out there, really.
Okay. Caroline says, I do too, Neil. So Caroline believes in aliens. I've actually seen a UFO, you know.
Have you?
Yeah. Many, many years ago, when I used to play football, I was cycling home from Hinckley back down the lanes down to Iron. I was with my brother Gary. And there was a UFO in the sky, and we both saw it. It wasn't a star, it wasn't anything like that, it wasn't a plane. It was a UFO. Cool. So I've not seen one since, I don't think.
Yeah, and I think as well with so many people now having mobile phones and having an instant access to cameras, you know, there's so much footage, isn't there, where people have caught all sorts of unidentified flying objects around the skies all over the world.
So, of course, this is slightly different to what we normally talk about, but it is still the paranormal, isn't it? I think people tend to think the paranormal is just ghosts and that sort of thing, but this is still paranormal because it's not the normal stuff. So, have you ever experienced anything alien type?
Only up at the centre.
Yeah.
We have our little ET, don't we, up at the centre? And we also had an experience in the seance room where there was like a collective energy of a few different I'd say souls. I'm not sure there
Yeah.
were souls.
That was a bit like the Borg, wasn't it? You know, I don't know if you watch Star Trek. The
Oh,
Borg
yeah.
Star Trek was it controlled by one, but it was a collective,
Yeah.
and that was similar to that sort of thing, wasn't it? I reckon.
Yeah, they just seemed to be traveling together, but it was there was about 12 people. I'll say people. I'm not even sure they were from this world, but they were all sort of traveling together. A consciousness. That's what I would say. There's like sort of 12 consciousnesses all sort of traveling together, and they ended up in our seance room.
Which is a bit weird. Of all the
Yeah.
places they can visit on the planet or in the universe, they come to the seance room.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, when we're there as well. And I actually think, I know there's a lot of people who don't believe in aliens, but of all the stars that you see in the universe, all them stars have got possibly planets around them. It's a bit unreal to think there's nothing, no other life form out there, that we are the superior being, isn't it? It's a bit arrogant, the human race.
Yeah, I don't believe that with all those planets out there, billions of planets, that we are the only planet with life on it.
Yeah, definitely. So if anyone who's watching has had any experience of UFOs, please share it with us and we'll put it up and we'll have a good chat about it. Okay. Gail says, this is a huge universe and you're not telling me we're here all on our lonesome. No, I'm a big believer and so much cover-ups going on. Okay, we'll talk about cover-ups then. Do you think the governments, especially the Americans, Russians and us, have got evidence?
Oh, definitely. It was only a little while ago, wasn't it, that NASA was supposed to be releasing sort of information about UFOs and all that sort of thing. You know, because there's still this story of Area 51, isn't there, with the crashed UFO that was apparently happened in the 50s, and you know, there's just so much out there that surely they can't all be conspiracy theories. They can't all be lies and made up stories.
Well, like you said earlier about all the cameras, there's so many videos now of lights in the sky. They can't all be fake, can they? Surely.
No.
So.
And I think they will do their best to try and make up cover stories, won't they? I think, was it the Area 51 when they crashed in the 50s? Did they say it was a weather balloon or something?
Yeah. But Area 51 does exist, and you're not allowed to go anywhere near it. So
no.
it's all
I have seen Independence Day.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Some more questions. Some more comments. One says they could be walking amongst us, and we wouldn't know. That's exactly right. We wouldn't know. Okay, Rick says, I told you, Neil, we are descended from aliens as it was them that populated the earth.
Yeah, I believe that.
Caroline says, I definitely think so too, but they cover it all. Why do you think they cover it all up, Jane?
I think because it would, I think trying to rewrite all the history books would just, I think it would just upset too many things, wouldn't it? Particularly the churches and stuff like that. You know, there was ancient civilizations on this earth thousands of years ago, and when the big flood happened, it washed away most of these cities and advanced civilizations, and we more or less the human race more or less had to sort of start from scratch, and you know, a lot of the stuff was destroyed, and but some of it still does exist, and you know, I think particularly the churches, they're going to have a very difficult time trying to rewrite the history and what's been documented as being the truth.
Yeah, so we're going back to the churches at the centre of all this again, aren't we?
Yeah.
Which it's a bit of a theme with us at the minute, isn't it? The churches won't allow things, and the church, you might not think the church has a lot of power, but the church is no matter what religion it is, the church is the most powerful entity on the planet, in my opinion.
Yeah, and they've done some awful things in the name of their God.
Yeah, so they're not going to allow that sort of information. Really. Do you think the human race would panic if they knew that aliens were there?
No, I don't necessarily think so, but I think I think a lot of people are partly expecting it anyway. I think
Yeah.
too many people have seen it, too many people have got videos of it. There's too much information out there. I'm saying even ancient civilizations have seen it all, like the Hopis and you know, even the Anunnakis and the Egyptians, and you know, there's so many stories, and the
Yeah.
Mayans. You know, there's stories of, you know, when they all just disappeared, and the stories of, you know, they all just got in the spaceship and went.
Yep. Don't blame them. Right, a couple more comments. Linda says, yes, I think they have and will not release it. Yeah, we agree with that, Linda. Noreen says, I saw a huge black triangle about 11 years ago. It was bigger than a football pitch and flying low and totally silent. It was about 2:30 a.m. and I've never found an explanation. That's
Yeah.
an awesome thing to see, isn't it? Gaz says, I don't understand why they cover it up. We all know they are out there. They were here before us. The underground runways and the buildings that were built that couldn't have had the eyesight of humans to do so. Yeah, they found these shapes in some desert, and I think they've recently found some more. I can't remember what they were. Some look like runways, some look like birds and things.
That's the Nazca lines, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the one.
In Peru.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't know
Well,
what.
apparently the Chinese have been doing some more sort of um, I can't remember the name of it, with new advanced equipment, and they found something like 300 or 3,000 or something more of these glyphs all over the place.
Strange. Okay, Sarah says there are ancient slabs with pictures of man in spacesuits. How did they know this then? Yeah, there's cave drawings in there of what looks like spacemen.
Yeah, and spaceships.
Yeah, so even pictures of religious picture drawings and paintings, I've got things in the sky look like UFOs.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why they don't just come out and say, yeah, we know they're here.
Yeah, I think, you see, we're a bit used to it, aren't we? Because we talk about these things, and we sort of, you know, we've got a bit of an understanding about it. But probably the average chap on the street who's just not really interested, would it cause too much panic? Would it cause too much disruption? And, you know, would it upset people's lives in general just too much?
But then they would be basing it on Hollywood films, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Now, if there's a race of beings that's so far intelligent, so far ahead of us in intelligence, they're not going to be warmongering, are they? Surely.
Well, you'd think that they would be coming along to help us, and you know, part of this stuff, part of the stuff for the crop circles. So who's doing that? You know, one of the theories is it is the people who they call the Watchers, and these aren't the same Watchers that were originally, you know, the 200 Watchers as such that came down from heaven as such. These are different Watchers. These are the ones that the Hopi called the Sky People.
Yeah. Okay. Noreen says, I have also seen a darting white light, which I thought at first was a shooting star until it stopped and changed direction. Cool. Von says, or we've lost us. Von says, I haven't seen a UFO, but myself and my husband had a very strange experience, which we still can't explain while driving on a motorway coming home. 1 minute we were in one place, then finished up a lot further down the motorway. When we checked time, it was only a couple of minutes later. We were not affected in any way, just shocked and confused to how it happened. We knew the area well, and we had not had alcohol or drugs. That's a weird experience.
Yeah.
I like that one. That's very X-Files, isn't it?
Yeah.
Steve is watching from Steve's Ghost Hunters. Yes, we're both well and safe. Thanks, Steve. One says, I think it's time they reveal the truth. I could understand them fearing hysteria, but people can research and are very knowledgeable now. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just think the evidence is so overwhelming. They just cannot keep covering it up.
Yeah.
Gail says, I wonder if they have a pair up there chatting about if we exist. True. What, Alien Neil and Alien Jane? Okay, Steve says, we're taught in school that life must exist elsewhere in the universe, and in higher physics you learn about Fermi paradox, for example. So it shouldn't really cause too much panic nowadays. No, I don't think it should do. But people do watch these Hollywood films, don't they?
Yeah.
So they naturally going to think the worst. They're going to come and kill us or
Yeah, you see, and I would worry, I think, well, not so much worry, but there would be a concern, wouldn't there, that if aliens did come in peace or whatever, and they did come and they did land and they did want to show us things and they did want to, sort of cooperate and talk to us and teach us stuff and everything else, that, some cultures and races on this earth, all they would want to do was attack them and kill them. That's how I imagine the Americans to be. If an alien come and landed, what would they do? Would they open fire and just blow them out the sky, or
Unfortunately, some are like that. I'm not saying it would be the Yanks, but just in case there's any Americans watching. And Steve says, not to mention Brian Cox on mainstream BBC, who often investigates the possibility of alien life. Yeah, and there's so much going on. Lee says it's a bit short-sighted to think we are alone in the universe when we haven't even finished exploring our own planet and discovering new species. Yeah, I often say
True.
we know more about the universe than we do about our seas, our oceans.
Yeah.
And that's very, very sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Linda says, well said, Jane. Barry says, similar happened to me. I was boxed in between two cars on the motorway, slowing me down to make me stop. Then in a blink of an eye, I was on a deserted motorway alone and traveling at 70 miles per hour. How does one explain that? That's great. Great experiences these are. Then Noreen says, I told my partner about the triangle experience the next day. Felt a bit daft, but it perplexed me. About a year later, I was watching TV and a documentary came on, and it was about UFOs. And there was a section on black triangles in America. Phoenix, I think, unrecorded it and showed my partner, and I was so excited that it didn't just happen to me. Apparently, they have been seen all over the world, but I've never heard of them prior to my own experience. The sightings have been going on for a very long time.
Yeah.
Very true. It's been since the beginning of time, isn't it?
I think so.
Rick says, once again, the Hollywood propaganda machine has warped and twisted the truth. That's very true.
Yeah.
Very true, Rick. Owen says, my dad passed away 5 years ago. Sorry to hear that.
Oh.
It's not easy losing a parent or a child. One says, perhaps they are studying us. Maybe we are their guinea pigs of how we treat the world. Oh, we're not doing very well, are we? Let's face it.
Well, if we were judged on how we treated the world, I don't think we'd last very long, to be honest.
We wouldn't be here now, would we?
Oh, dear.
Gail says, I think the worry is because folk know they have the intelligence and capabilities to build spacecraft and what they use for fuel. Yeah, what you got to think of is, in the grand scheme of things, we haven't been here a long time, have we?
No.
The human race hasn't been here a long time. When you look at the universe. So they might have been existing millions of years. And if you go back 100 years in our history, look at the advances we've made in 100
Yeah.
years or even 50 years. You know, you imagine life now without computers, and they ain't been around that long.
No.
And look how they've come along. Sarah says, evening, sorry I'm late. Detention for you, Sarah. Owen says, I've seen a ghost and my support worker has seen a ghost. Cool. So what do you reckon to the moon landing then, Jane?
Well, it's a bit... I don't believe... I still struggle to believe that we actually went, when you actually look at the footage, you know, when there's no stars in the background and it's all completely black, and you know, there's various stories that have come out saying that, you know, it was all rigged, and people who've worked there said, you know, all sorts of things. So I do struggle to believe that it was real.
I agree. I don't think 1 minute man have set foot on the moon. They're just so... I like conspiracy theories anyway, but I've seen so many videos and so many photos. They're just, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think 1 minute we've landed on the moon.
No, I'd just like to think that the clangers and the soup dragon are still up there. I'm showing my age.
Rick says, I do believe Joy might have an alien, and I think further study... Rick and Joy I work with. So that's an inside joke, I think. Von says, going back to the cave drawings, etc., they were already identified centuries, years ago. Yeah, you just can't explain it, can you? Von says, I don't believe the moon landing, so she agrees with us.
I think they've found so many sort of discrepancies, didn't they, in the footage? You know, even like the landscape on the moon, they actually traced it to somewhere, some hills in the desert or something. It's you know, and it's an exact match for the landscape or something. It just seems too far-fetched, really.
Yeah. Okay, Noreen says, I'm quite a naturally skeptical person at first. I thought the lights I saw were a formation of airplanes until it got closer. Then I saw the black triangle attached to them. I did think that it must be some secret aircraft testing some new technology or something. But after all this time, I think we would have heard something about it by now. This is very true.
Yeah.
Okay, Sarah says, what are your thoughts on black-eyed children? Do they exist, and are they from another planet? What do you think to that?
I'm not... You see, until I've actually encountered it myself and I've experienced it myself, I always do sort of remain a bit open-minded. And I know the black-eyed children are supposed to be up in... where is it up the road, Neil?
Cannock,
that's it. So the black-eyed children are supposed to be up there, but until I actually go and meet them, I'm not sure. But I'm not sure if they'd be from another planet. I don't know.
No,
I think that if they've been here for such a long time and they've been living in somewhere like Cannock Chase, I feel that they would have been discovered by now if they've been here that long, and we would have heard reports about it. Or have there been reports and they've just been denied? It's difficult to say, really.
Yeah. Linda says, don't believe they landed on the moon, but Steve disagrees. Steve says, you don't think man have landed on the moon, but you think aliens have been to Earth. I'm sorry, but that's worrying. I just don't think in 1969 man had the technology to get to the moon. It's just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right. I just don't know. I just don't think they did. Noreen, I agree. I think the videos and photos of the moon landing look phony.
You know,
Um,
if we went to the moon back in the 60s, you know, and they actually did it and they achieved it, why haven't we been back there since?
yeah. And Steve says, you don't think man have landed on the moon? Oh, I've read that one. Then Steve says there are no discrepancies in the moon landing photos and they weren't tracked to the desert. Okay. And Steve says, how is the moon landing too far-fetched, but aliens coming to Earth over millions of light years possible? I just think if an alien race is that far ahead of us in technology, why not? You know, perhaps we have got the technology to get to the moon now. But in 1969, I personally, I don't think that. I wish they had, but I don't think they have. Okay. Okay. Bond says, I think the moon landing was to try to convince people and dissuade them from the truth of UFOs. Rick says Stanley Kubrick was a very creative director and it's believed he created the illusion of the moon landing. There's a bit of a disagreement going on here.
Well, I think they will be with such strong topics, won't they?
Steve says Stanley Kubrick was not involved in the moon landing footage, but he liked to keep the myth going, like by hiding obvious clues in his movies. And Steve says, so you don't believe in any of the current space program like the Mars landing, which is naturally and steady progression from 1969. I don't know. I've not watched a lot about it, to be honest. So
yeah, I do think they've got all the different probes, haven't they, going out? I just feel that if the moon landing was so successful, are we saying then that one visit to the moon, they got enough information, enough understanding, and everything else to never go back there?
yeah,
You know, I'd have thought they'd have been, you know, at least probably had one or two more journeys back there.
No, they did though, didn't they? They up to Apollo 16 or 17, they went to the moon, I think. So they've been to the moon a few times, apparently. So yeah, there's obviously a disagreement about whether we landed on the moon or not. Steve said there wasn't one visit to the moon. No, there was a number. I think there were about 4, 5, or 6. I can't remember how many. And there was a Chinese probe this year. Okay, well, we'll move on to crop circles. Let's forget about the moon now. Crop circles, they've been going on and appearing for a countless number of years.
Yeah.
Do you think some of them are fake and made by humans to make it look like crop circles done by aliens? And do you think some are genuinely made by aliens?
Yeah, some are fake. Some are fake, and some do seem to be the genuine article. And there seems to be more and more scientific evidence to sort of back that up now.
Yeah. Okay. Sarah said, on a lighter note, England is still 1-0 up.
Are they playing football tonight? I'm just
football. Sorry, I don't follow the football.
Nor do I. Sorry.
So yeah, so are crop circles appearing all around the world?
Crop circles seem to be there seem to be like hotspots where they appear, aren't they? And in England, it seems to be Hampshire and Wiltshire where they seem to occur the most.
Yeah.
And you know, they do happen all around the world. Another hotspot is Ohio in America, and there's been some in Australia.
Yeah. So what do you think what's the significance of them? Because you've done some
Well,
research, haven't you?
yeah, you see, they do fascinate me anyway. So I just naturally sort of try and find out about them. And of course, the summertime is sort of crop circle sort of season. So you know, the theory is that these watchers, as they call them, are the ones that are sort of doing these crop circles,
Yeah.
and there seems to be a set sort of pattern for these, and there seems to be like two shafts of light that come down, and the crop circles are done within 15 seconds.
Right.
And you know, however big they are, they seem to take, you know, just 15 seconds. And people have actually witnessed these shafts of light coming down while they've been done. And you know, I think it's a case of them sort of using symbols and things, because language would get lost.
Yeah.
So using the symbols and using things like mathematics and geometry and stuff like a universal language. So it tends to be the symbols and the signs that they use.
Yeah, because symbols are important, aren't they?
Yeah.
In most things. Okay, Rick says, I said earlier it's the farmers making the crop circles. Caroline says, yes, I believe some crop circles are fake. And Sarah says, I remember we did have them appear a few times in a field near where I lived as a child. It was big news back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep the comments coming in. Oh,
So they say that they can tell the difference between the real circles and the fake circles because of the amount of mathematics that's involved in the design. Because with the fake ones, you know, they're not the information sort of within the circle is very sort of basic, but the amount of mathematics that's involved in the genuine ones is one of the reasons how they can tell. And there seems to be different sort of, you know, there's rings and spirals and angles, and the crop circles always nearly appear near ancient monuments.
Yeah.
And the ground has to be the ground has to be like a certain type of ground. It's the geology as well that's important. Because there has to be a mix of chalk and limestone, and there has to be water nearby.
Yeah, yeah. Sarah says they are too perfect. I couldn't do one, and she agrees. Owen says UFOs did it. Sarah says it's quite fascinating. We knew the local farmer well, and he was not happy. No, I didn't think there was happy. So, as far as you know, as far as your research, Jane, have they actually translated a crop circle and know what it should mean?
Yeah, there's a great program by Freddie Silver, and it's called Crop Circles: Evidence of Intelligence, and he made it in 2019. He did this presentation, and he tells so much information in there. He even shows you how the crop circles are made, and that they're literally done within seconds. And one of the other things as well that's so intriguing with the scientists is the fact that the corn or the wheat or whatever it is isn't actually flattened, it's just bent over. And the roots are actually going sideways, so there's some sort of gravitational, there's some sort of distortion in the gravitational field as well. And they say that you can't take any electrical equipment inside of the crop circle because of the electricity and everything. It just blows the cameras. It just blows everything that goes in there if it's electrical.
Blimey. Okay then. Kev says they are too complex to be faked in one day. I was walking my dog, and this orange orb, the size of a football, flew over my head. I can't explain what it was. It's interesting.
Yeah. And they also say like the direction of the wheat as well, because it's going in such a direction. And in some cases where it gets that complex, there's wheat actually going under another sort of strain, like another sort of lane of wheat as such.
Like
And they reckon that
knitted.
these have gone down within seconds of each other.
Yeah.
As this one's going under, this one's already coming down, and it's done in such a way that two blokes with a plank and a piece of string couldn't possibly get that sort of precision, and actually turning the roots of the crop sideways and things to just allow them to bend over.
Strange. They are fascinating to look at as well. I'd love to know what they all meant.
Yeah, because some of them are sort of planetary things. There was one that showed three in this program with Freddie Silver. He actually talks about these. There's two circles and there's like two wavy lines, and people actually thought the two wavy lines in the beginning were DNA, but it's actually the sound waves, and that was actually the construction of how they make the crop circles.
Blimey, fascinating. So, anybody got any more comments? Is Sarah? Sarah says, "'Tis funny you should say about them being electrical, Jane. All us local kids went up to the field and to take a look, and not all of us, but some of us were very static with hair sticking up."
Yeah, because of the electrical thing, and they also measured the frequency as well of the sort of the waves in the in the area, and on the outside of the crop circle it was like 150 megahertz, whereas right in the center of the crop circle it was 500 megahertz. And they reckon that if you're in the middle of the crop circle, even if you visit it afterwards, if you're in the middle there, you will sort of feel this sort of spaced out sort of feeling, because it does actually affect you.
Blimey, I didn't know all this, I must admit. I've just seen pictures of them. I thought they looked nice. So, any more comments? Anybody's watching? So, do you think aliens and ghosts and spirits and the things we normally look at are all interlinked?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, they're all interlinked into this universal energy. See, with the energy as well, with the crop circles, they mapped where sort of all these energy lines are. And these are not ley lines. These are a different sort of energy line, because these are like they're described like the veins, sort of going through the earth as like in our bodies. And there's these energy lines, and they've sort of plotted where these energy lines are, and the crop circles do actually appear on these energy lines.
Yeah. Amazing. Sarah says, yes, I think they're linked too. And Kev says, bloody clever farmers to make these works of art. So if the farmers were doing these crop circles, why would they do it? They're not making money out of it. They're not making anything out of it, are they?
No. But one of the good things is it doesn't actually ruin the crops. The crops can still be harvested exactly the same. It doesn't ruin the crops. But the one of the things that they were talking about was actually the water in the plant, because in a split second the temperature is supposed to raise up to something like 1500 degrees, and the water inside the plant actually atomizes and causes a steam vapor. So just after it's been happened, you can see sort of like a cloud of steam over the site.
Yeah. Fascinating. Sarah says farmers don't have time to do this. I just can't understand why they would do it. I don't.
But they do say most of the crop circles appear at between 2 and 4 in the morning.
So why do you think that is then? Why do you think they appear at that time?
I'm not sure. I just, it's very rare that they'll actually happen in the daytime.
Strange. So I'll just wait for some more comments. Okay then. Sarah says, have there been any records of anybody witnessing these being done?
Yes, there was one bloke sort of near Stonehenge, because all these happen near sort of ancient sites. And there was one bloke apparently driving a taxi, and they seen the beam of light come down, and he actually got out of his taxi, stood on the bonnet, and actually witnessed the crop circle coming down. And it was only a matter of seconds, but because it was a single track road as such, the traffic backed up for 5 hours. But there's quite a few witnesses. There's a woman walking a dog that said that she saw the beams of light coming down. And Freddie Silver did actually catch a photo of these 2 beams of light coming down.
Blimey. Okay then, let's move on. Let's talk about alien abduction then. Why have there been lots and lots of supposed reports on alien abduction? I'll ask you, Jane, what are your thoughts on that one?
I don't know really. I've you sort of, when you come across these stories, you do sort of tend to read them. But one of the things that intrigues me is some of the stuff that's been taken out of people's bodies, like these sort of microchips that they put in on these tracker devices and stuff like that. That's quite interesting.
Okay, Sarah says, I think I'm going to have to do some reading. And Vaughn says, maybe the time is something in their time that is meaningful for them to do the crop circles at that time. That's if they have time like we do.
Yeah.
So do you think they'll be governed by time like we do?
I think they're sort of pretty knowledgeable about what we're up to and how we're advancing, because one of the theories is sometimes that they send these things along, or they do these crop circles to help our understanding, or to help sort of science move along that little bit. And one of the accounts was 2 scientists were actually in this place doing a thingy on their paper, presenting a paper, and 10 miles down the road, and this is one of the crop circles that sort of happened in the day. Apparently a crop circle appeared 10 miles down the road while they were actually doing this, and it sort of basically confirmed what they were presenting. The information that they got from this crop circle basically confirmed what they were doing.
Blimey, it is fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah. And one of the things as well is the ground as well, because they found that there's really high concentration of nitrate in the soil where the crop circle is. And they say that can only be done in 2 ways, and that's either by a lot of fertilizer or by sort of like a high frequency of sound. And that's where these sort of 2 wavy lines come down to with the light and stuff. So it's a fascinating subject.
Yeah. Sarah says, I remember reading somewhere that people who are rhesus negative blood group are supposed to descend from aliens. What are your thoughts?
Well, my sort of understanding is that we're all basically genetically engineered from the original, when the master geneticist changed our DNA. I think we're all sort of descendants of that, really.
Owen says UFOs did it. I think that's the crop circles. And Caroline says, I'm rhesus negative, say no more. So do you actually think aliens walk amongst us, Jane?
I'm not sure if they walk amongst us. I'm not sure. I do, I can only talk about my own experiences and what my understanding is by sort of reading other people's stuff. I'm not sure, to be honest. I do think they're around us, but probably not in this dimension. But I'm not sure. I've not encountered one, so
apart from the little ET.
Yeah, but he's
he-
I say he's
he-
just in a different dimension, isn't he?
Yeah,
We've seen
yeah.
his sort of spirit as such.
Yeah. Sarah says, "Me too, Caroline." I'm not saying anything to that one. So yeah, if anyone thinks that aliens do walk amongst us, let us make a comment. There's lots of people racist negative now. So do you think we are using alien technology to make advances? No, like for example, if Area 151 is what people think it is, do you think they're using alien technology to make the advances that we've made lately?
I'm not sure because when we look back at all these civilizations before the big flood, like we said before, the Anunnakis were supposed to have in Sumeria, the Sumerians were supposed to have a lot of advanced technology, and the Indians, there's accounts where they're supposed to have nuclear weapons, and there was a war and all sorts, and there's still like evidence to show that sort of there's high radiation in some places where where this nuclear bomb was supposed to have gone off. So I think we've had technology before.
Spooky. Oh, Sarah says, thanks, Neil. Von says, scientists do say that we all have alien DNA within us, but how can they prove that if there's been no aliens?
I think one of the things with the DNA is chromosome 2, isn't it? Somebody genetically engineered our chromosome 2, and they sort of cut it in half and fused it together and turned off certain parts of our DNA in order for us to be as we are.
Caroline says she thinks they do walk amongst us. And Rick says, I do believe that these other beings think we are too young in the universe to want to make proper contact with us. And only when we have truly evolved as a species will they show themselves and then show us the true wonders of the universe. Owen says, seen a UFO, my mother and sister has too. Von says, I do think they walk amongst us. I can't recall where it came from, but they say we all have a double.
Ooh.
What, two of me?
Oh, God.
What are you laughing at? Laughing. So, do you watch the science fiction films, Jane?
No.
No.
I don't watch horrors. I don't watch anything that's not true, really.
Did you ever watch the X-Files?
I did watch the X-Files. Yeah.
I think the X-Files, when they brought it back a few years ago, that was more of a documentary to me than a drama.
Yeah.
Some of the things they showed then, I think, so realistic to what's been happening lately.
Yeah, I do. I think it's interesting when you see some of the things on there and then you think, "Ooh, I've seen that. I've seen one of them."
Yeah. Sarah says they visit us so they can watch us. And Sarah says, well, I was just going to say that, Neil, two of you. Owen, I think, watched the X-Files. And Caroline always watched the X-Files, loved it. So do I. Von says, I couldn't cope with two of me, let alone anyone else. I'm sure you don't want two of me. So, any final comments? We've got a few minutes left. While we're waiting for some comments, we'll tell everybody to download the HAPRC app.
Yes.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's up and running and it's all good. And it's a great bit of kit to have on your phone.
Yes, it's available on Android and iOS now. It's only $3.99, so it's well worth the money. And you'll be able to keep up with whatever we're doing. Owen says Star Trek on TV. I used to love the original series of Star Trek.
I love Star Trek. Still love it now.
Yeah, the original was the best. Rick says, I think Turf Me would be awesome. Well, we'll ask the rest of the team tomorrow that one, shall we, Rick? See who agrees with that one. Von says, yes, I like the X-Files. And Sarah says, already got it, love it, best thing you could have done. That's the app. Thank you, Sarah. If you're watching and you have downloaded the app, please remember to turn on the notifications, because not everyone's actually turned the notifications on, because I get told this, you see. So a lot of people, well, not a lot, quite a few people haven't turned the notifications on, in which case you won't get notified and it'll be just like Facebook, not telling people what we're doing. Any more comments? So basically then, Jane, we believe there's aliens. We believe they are a lot more advanced than we are.
I think so.
But I really can't. I don't think they're going to be here to kill us and destroy us. I don't.
No, when you see so many of these stories, I mean, one of the books that I need to get and read is a book called The Book of the Hopi, and there it tells about you know, their interaction with the star people and that. Then, when you've got accounts like that, you know, I find it difficult to believe that, you know, that's all made up, or you know, they've got so much information. They've got so much information about star systems and even many of the previous cultures and you know, things like the Mayan calendars and stuff. Their knowledge of the stars and the constellations and everything like that was way advanced.
Yeah. Okay. Owen says Stargate SG-1's on TV. Stargate was a good film, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Sarah says, yay, England won. I imagine that's the football again. Sarah says, yes, agree. Von says, Star Trek, but where did all the technology come from for all their ideas? Reminds me of when I used to watch the puppets in the Thunderbirds. I'm showing my age now. I used to watch Thunderbirds. And Caroline says, love Stargate. I especially love the Stargate film. I thought that was a really good film, and I could actually relate to all that film.
Yeah, one of the Indian deities, I think it's Shiva, is always depicted in, you know, having this circle around the back of them. And one of the theories is that that's a Stargate, and they used to travel through the Stargate.
Okay, Rick says, to all my fellow Trekkies out there, live long and prosper. See, I can
or
do
in
it.
this case, just good luck.
Owen's got it on DVD. Sarah says, do you remember Blake 7? Yes, I do.
Yeah, I'm trying not to. It wasn't my favourite.
It was typical 70s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So any final comments before we end tonight's show? If you saw my post earlier, in September, the Haunted Connections is 3 years old.
Wow.
It started off on Castle Mead Radio, didn't it, as the Paraology show. Then we went on to Parasearch Radio, and then we got our own, and it's 3 years old in September.
Yeah.
So, if you'd like us to do we want to do something special as it's our birthday. Let us know what you'd like us to do. at the minute we're leaning towards doing an investigation, and we'll do the show live at a location. Let us know what you'd like us to do. Rick says, I think UFO was also a very good program. Yes, I used to like that. Okay, Sarah says, think you need to do a chat on vampires next.
Ooh.
Okay, then next week we will do a chat on vampires, Sarah, just for you. So that's Jane's next bit of research organised. One says, wow, I think that's because I can't believe it's been 3 years. Love this. Caroline says, love this discussion. Thanks, Neil, Jane, and everyone.
Oh, that's good.
And
just remember, people, that we're not experts in anything. We just like to discuss things, and we like to hear your views and your ideas and your comments and your experiences. So we're not experts in anything. And things like the moon landing, well, you know, everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got different ideas of what went on, you know, with different information. So,
yeah,
you know, we're not experts, but we just like to enjoy chatting with you all.
Yes, that's right. It's very well put. I can actually remember watching it on the telly, you know, the moon landing, and I was really excited because the bloke's name was Neil. I thought, what a good name. Sarah says, thank you both. Good night. Enjoy this evening's chat. Sarah says, thanks, Neil and Jane. Vaughn says, tonight's discussion has been great. It's a little bit different because we normally talk about ghosts and things, don't we?
Yeah. Yeah. And if you do want some more information, I say that program by Freddie Silver, it's called Crop Circles, Evidence of Intelligence, and it was done in 2019. And he also has a book which is called Secrets in the Fields. So that's well worth a read.
Caroline says, but it's gone so quick. It has gone quick. I can't believe when we started. 3 years. So yeah, let me know what you'd like us to do on our 3rd birthday. In the minute, I think we're talking about doing an investigation live, aren't we?
Yeah, bringing you the show from a spooky location.
Yeah. Rick says, final words of wisdom are, if you ever get asked if you are God, you say yes.
I watched the Ghostbusters as well the other day.
It is.
If somebody asks if you're a god, you say yes.
One says that's right, and it's only our opinion, same as everyone else's. It's opinion. It's important too because we can research more. Yeah, it's just our opinion. Well, I don't know that much. Greetings from Sweden. I think your name Abby. Apologise if I pronounced that wrong. Caroline says, yes, that would be brilliant. Yeah, I am leaning towards doing a live investigation, and we will stream it live just for your enjoyment. Don't know where from yet, because it will be a Tuesday evening. We might even do an extended one, shall we, Jane?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if you haven't downloaded the app, please download it. It's well worth the money as far as I'm concerned. Because we are eventually going to move further away from social media because it does my head in. So keep in touch with us that way. Carla says can't wait. Sarah says excited. And Von says sounds like a good plan for celebration. I think she means celebration, but celebration sounds good to me.
Yep.
So, any final words of wisdom, Jane?
Well, if people are just interested in this sort of stuff, there's so many books and programs and all sorts of stuff. And, you know, some people will have conflicting ideas because, you know, everybody has an opinion. So don't let people put you off and just research into what you want to do. And it's always interesting reading both sides of the story, and then you can make up your own mind.
Yeah, and the best thing is, just because you have a different opinion to somebody else, still be mates, still be friends. They're just opinions. Like Jane says, we don't know. We just say our opinions. So thanks for everyone. Thanks for all the comments. They've been great as always. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next week. Don't forget another Demon Files next Sunday, coming from the centre, and we'll see you next week. So see you all.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Was asleep in midst